Welcome, welcome, everybody. Happy Monday morning.
Hello, hello.
Nice to see you all. Welcome, welcome. Yes, we've got lots of folks joining us this morning. Very exciting.
Great.
Woohoo! Still
Good to
filing in, I
see
think.
everybody.
I know.
Hello.
This is great. Hi there, Roger. Yes. Anna Maria. Hi
Hello.
there.
Hi.
Maggie. Lots of familiar faces, and I see some new ones as well. This is very exciting. As we are letting everybody file into the main room here, why don't we go ahead and take this opportunity to rename ourselves with our first name, whatever we'd like to be called, and then the city in which we live. I really love to do that so we can see where everyone is calling in from today. So if you rename yourself, you are going to scroll your mouse over your own image. And then once that happens, a little ellipsis shows up in the right hand corner of your little box of where your face is. You click on that, and that will pull up a menu. You'll look for rename. Click on that. Go ahead and show us who you are, your first name, what you'd like to be called today, and then the city in which you live. All right, looks like that's working for a lot of folks. That's great.
So I have an iPad, and that's not
Okay. All right, Diane, I'm going to do this for you just for time's sake. So, Diane, where are you calling in from today?
San Jose, California.
Okay, wonderful. Perfect. Great. Okay, we've got almost
Thank
50
you.
folks in here. This is wonderful. Can I just see? I only see one of two screens, but is anyone new? Can you just raise your hand? First time to be on an InSync program? Okay, yeah, we've got
Excellent.
some new
Yeah.
folks. That's wonderful. Welcome. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Shannon Elliott. I am the manager of our InSync network here at PMD Alliance, and that is our network of support group leaders who we like to give resources to and train and just help to connect you all as a community with one another. And this is, mostly here in the United States, but Ana Maria, I see her on my screen here. She's actually calling in from Peru. We are international at this point. And I have a couple of colleagues on the call with me today. We've got Rachel. If you want to say hi, Rachel.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rachel Steinberg. I am the Community Network Manager here at PMD Alliance. I am helping Shannon with our InSync support group leader training workshops, and I also help co-facilitate many of our support groups through PMD Alliance. So I do know and recognize many of you, and thrilled that there are so many people that are interested in doing this and being here today. So thank you all. And with us is Kelly. She's in Nashville. Say hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. No. Classic joke, right? Hello, everybody. I'm Kelly Merkel, and I am the online program manager here at PMD Alliance. So you probably see my little face box on a lot of our weekly webinar programs, as well as InSync here. I'm happy to be joining and offering tech support if you've got any issues with getting your audio or video connected or any other things. Feel free to send me a DM chat in Zoom here, and I'll see what I can do to help you out. But I'm happy to be here.
Thanks so much, Kelly. And just as a reminder for any of you all as support group leaders running your support group meetings online on Zoom, it is so helpful to have one or two people backing you up so that it's not just you doing all the facilitation, all of the technical aspects. Just share the load there. And so I know I have so much relief knowing that Rachel and Kelly are there on my team and helping me with facilitating these workshops for you. So again, welcome. I am going to start sharing my screen with you, and so we can get going on our program today. All
I
right.
just want to give a shout out to one other international person that's here, Kristen from San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. So hello there. We're so happy we've become international. This is wonderful.
Wow, I'm so jealous. I love Mexico. I really want to go to that city. I've heard wonderful things about it. Okay, so hopefully you're all seeing my slides. Is that true? Yes? Okay,
Yes.
see thumbs up. Wonderful. So again, welcome to our InSync Roundtable for the month of January. We're going to be continuing these on a monthly basis as we move through the year because we have heard from you that this is really helpful for convening, for learning from one another, and getting the support that you need as a support group leader, okay? Yes, we're in our second year of the pandemic. Things keep changing on seems like a weekly, if not daily basis. And just to be able to touch in with one another and get tips and tricks and learn, that's the goal, okay? So additionally, today, you might have seen in the marketing for this particular roundtable that we are going to be looking at an exercise, or I like to call it a game. It makes it a little bit more fun, called mirroring, as if you're looking into a mirror. And so this is an activity. It's a physical connecting game that you can play with your support group members, and that's something that you can do in person as well as online, like here on Zoom. So I'm going to be teaching you how to do that. So it's a train the trainer situation, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun with that. Let's see here. We are also going to have breakout groups, a little session in the second half of today's meeting. And so that'll be a chance for you to talk with one another in small groups so that everybody can participate. And I will have a couple of questions that I'll pose for you to ponder, which you can take into your group and think about those things. Or if you have any burning questions, things that are of utmost importance right now, things that you want to bring up with your colleagues, you are completely welcome to talk about those things as well. So that's just a little rundown of what we're going to be doing. I will now move forward here and share these collaboration agreements with you. So these are our little ground rules, which is helpful for us to get on the same page. So it just points out all the expectations that we have of each other so that it's productive and respectful. First of all is muting your mic when necessary. Looks like you all are muted for the most part. We do love interaction with these roundtables, so do feel free to interact with us. You can ask questions and just use that mute function to help everything run smoothly and people staying focused. So next we would have here listening deeply, especially when we go into our small groups. Just a reminder to listen really deeply to one another and be there for one another. Yes, and that is borrowed from the improv theater world. So building on other people's ideas when you hear them saying, yes, I hear you, and I have this thought as well. Moving with intention, so just making sure that everyone has a chance to share and speak. So being mindful of how long you might be sharing yourself. And then the last one is please to be patient with our technology and with us as the operators, because we know things can go awry, and just to have a sense of humor, that's what we have to do these days, right? Okay, so I'm going to move forward. And I would like us today to think about this for our chat storm, which is something I like to start off our group meeting with. And this is something you can do in your groups just to get everyone participating off the bat. So hopefully you can find your chat function. It's at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a chat bubble. Click on that. The white pane will show up. So what I'd like you to let us know today is, what is your favorite genre of music for you to bust a move to? Yeah, or maybe if you don't think of yourself as a dancer, maybe you just like to move, you like to exercise, you like when you're cleaning around your house and you like to have music going. So yes, I'm seeing some of these come in. Celtic punk, whoa, okay, African, awesome, pop, rock and roll I saw. New Orleans jazz, that's very specific, I love that. country. You can do a little line dancing in your house. Michael Jackson, yep, you can't not move to Michael Jackson. Disco, I love it. Beach Boys, wonderful. Yeah, so we all have our tastes, our preferences as far as music is concerned. So that's something that's important to think about as we do our mirroring game, our mirroring exercise, and just the particular uniqueness that you might bring to the game when you are leading it yourself, right? Because you get to play DJ. When you are in charge and you're the leader, you get to have your own playlist and think about what you would like to share with your group members, things that might be inspiring for them, inspiring for you, and just a nice way to share. Okay, so thank you for sharing in the chat. Love that. Instrumental hip hop, 60s. Yeah, I love it. Wonderful. Okay, so yes, this is again just a little agenda for the day. So we're going to be talking about mirroring first, and so we're going to experience it before we talk about it. We'll talk about why it's important, where it comes from, and then how is it that we can lead and facilitate this game for our people. And then we'll do our breakout rooms the second half of our meeting today, which I already explained. Okay, so let's just go for it. Yes? So you might have heard jazz hands. I come from a dance background, warning. Yes, so I love my jazz hands when appropriate. So hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, hopefully I'm back here. So as we move through this mirroring game, I'd like you to do a couple of things. So I want you to fully experience it and enjoy it as a participant, but I also want you to observe the situation and notice what's happening as you experience it. So you're almost being like a witness on a couple of different levels. You're inside of it and you're doing it, but then you're kind of having that overarching, perspective looking down on it. There are a few basic guidelines for this game. I'm going to close my participants window so I can see more of you. Okay, there we go. Yes, that's much better. Okay, I can see more of your faces. So the basic guidelines for the game, first of all, you need to have the proper amount of space to move. So I would love you right now in your space to figure out how you can adapt yourself so that you can have a full wingspan and you're not going to knock over a lamp or your water glass. So I have set up my space. I've actually moved my dining room table away from the wall. I've pushed my computer backwards, and so I can pull my chairs. You can see that I'm very close to my wall here. But I have arranged my space in such a way where I can show you my full wingspan here. So any movement that I might do, it's not going to be cut off because I'm too close to the camera. Does that make sense to everybody? Can I see a thumbs up? Yeah, okay. And anytime you're like, I don't get it, that's the thermometer of I don't know. And then, no, I don't get that at all. So that's an easy way to see quickly if people are understanding what you're saying. Okay, so proper space to move. That's the first thing to think about. Now, when we're on Zoom, it's hard to have real eye contact, but do the best you can. So when you're following a leader during mirroring, you really want to look into their eyes and be with them as a human being, as a companion. Using only nonverbal communication, okay? So this isn't a time to explain what I'm doing with my body, to use my words to help people understand. This is completely done just by the nonverbal communication of using my body to move and my facial expressions to show my emotions. And then another very important thing is imitating the leader's movements as closely as possible. So as the name suggests, you are looking into a mirror, you're pretending to, and if I'm the leader, you are going to mimic my movements as specifically as possible, as if you're looking into a mirror at yourself. Okay, is that clear to everybody? Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. This might be new for some. I tend to do this exercise a lot during my workshops, so some of you might be familiar. Okay, so as we move through this, I am going to be asking for some volunteers to help me out. We're going to be changing leaders, and so don't be shy. And we do have a large group, which is great. It's just that we want you to participate. And so if anybody is interested to be a volunteer, give us the big high sign here, and then we'll be able to see you. And then we can have you interact with us and play leader for a moment. Just to give you a little warning here, there's going to be several songs that we're going to experience. So it's like snippets of songs and some pauses in between, and I'll be explaining things as we move through. And so just, again, be observing what we're doing as you're experiencing it, and then hold off to the end to make any comments or observations on what's going on. Okay, so just kind of keep those things in mind, and then we'll do a little bit of sharing afterward. Is that good for everybody? Yes? Okay, so as you can see, maybe you can go ahead and spotlight me, Kelly, and that way people can really see me in case. Okay, great. So hopefully I'm big on the screen. That means I can only see just a couple of you at the top. So I'm going to be utilizing my colleagues here, my partners, Rachel and Kelly, to help me with communication. And again, I always present to you as support group leaders the meta experience. So I am teaching you how I am doing things so that you can then have this perspective as you lead your meetings. So this here is my Bluetooth speaker. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. And let's see here. I am looking for something. So I apologize. So this is one of those moments where I'm trying to find my my Zoom settings. Let's see if I can find that. I just want to make sure that I'm on the correct musical setting, which I'm going to be showing you later. I believe I am. It's hard to tell from here. So I am going to be super awkward, and I'm going to unspotlight myself because I can't actually see my Zoom. Let's see my Zoom menu. Okay. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right, if you could please put me back on spotlight, Kelly. And again, I'll explain this later. What I'm using is something called original sound, and that's when I use my speaker and I'm playing music, that you hear the music as clearly as possible, and there's a specific feature in Zoom that allows that to happen. So I just had to make sure that that was live and active. Now, my Bluetooth speaker is on. I have my phone here, and so I've already created a playlist, and my phone is connected to my Bluetooth speaker, and that is how we're going to be hearing the music today. So I'm going to do a little test for sound, for volume. All right, looks like we can hear. Perfect. Okay, so multitasking at its limit. I'm going to scoot back, I'm going to play some music, and I would like you to follow me, please. Here we go. Sitting nice and tall. Roger Tregellis.
Kim from Your Belinda.
Okay, let's go with Kim and then Roger. If we could spotlight Kim.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are
Thank you, Kim.
laughable,
Thank you. If we could go to Roger Tregellis, please.
unphotographable. Yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me, not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine.
Beautiful. Thank you, Roger. Do we have one more volunteer? I'm putting it on gallery so I can see you all. Who would like to lead us? Go ahead and just wave your hands and we can
Joe.
Joe. Awesome. Give us a second to spotlight you. Now we can see you. Here we go. Yes, okay, we're gonna have a little bit of a pause as we wait for the next song to start. I know, yes, we're continuing to play our piano. Here we go.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love, is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you.
Lovely. Thank you, Joe. That was fun. Let's actually do one more person. I think we can do one more. I'm going to. All right, who's going to be brave? Oh, come on. Oh, okay. Anna Maria.
Anna Maria.
All right, Anna Maria, let's see it.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love, is all that I can give to you. Love is more than just a game for two. Two in love can't make it. Take my heart and please don't break it. Love was made for me and you.
Yay! Thank you, Anna Maria. Lovely. Okay, we're gonna do one more little aspect, another option for your mirroring. Instead of one person, this is something we can do with the group. I am going to, let's see, ask everyone to go to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom window and go back to gallery view so that you can see the whole group of people, the little Brady Bunch squares on your screen, depending on what kind of device you're on, of course. If you are on an iPad, get to the point where you can see 6 people using your gallery. Is everyone good with finding that gallery? Okay, great. All right, we've got one more song. And we are going to have it be mystery leader. So you are going to pick one person on your screen and you're going to follow them. They don't need to know that you're following them. And so let's just see what happens. I'm going to put this last song on and see how this feels as an experience. Find one person and start moving. Follow them.
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck, a hug around the neck, and a barrel and a heap, a barrel and a heap, and I'm talking in my sleep about you, about you. 'Cause I
All right,
love you,
pick someone else
a
on your
bushel
screen.
and a peck.
New person.
You bet your
Go.
pretty neck I do. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo-doo.
All right.
I love you.
One more.
bushel
A new
and
person.
peck,
Find
a
someone new to
bushel and a
watch.
peck, though you make my heart a wreck, make my heart a wreck, and you make my life a mess, make my life a mess, yes, a mess of happiness about you, about you. 'Cause I love you, a bushel and a peck, you bet your pretty neck I do. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo. A doodle-doodle-doo-doo-doo.
Okay, everybody. Yay. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was awesome. It gets to be kind of chaotic there, doesn't it? But it's really fun just to keep moving from person to person and choosing a new leader. It's a different kind of experience, isn't it?
And then you don't know if you end up being the leader.
Yes. Either to one person or more than one person.
Who's following who?
Exactly, exactly.
That was great.
Okay, good, good, good. All right, I would like to hear any thoughts you might have about that experience. Anything that comes to mind. If you have something to say, go ahead and wave your hand like this, and then we will call your name to unmute yourself.
Joe from Mass, who led us for a moment. What do you have to say?
I just have a question about how this would work with a hybrid setup in the room and people on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. We'll put that in the question corner and answer that. Yes, Kelly from Fort Worth, go ahead and unmute yourself, please. There you go.
There she is.
It was invigorating.
Okay. Just moving your body, hearing music. Felt good? Yeah, excellent. I see Kim from Yorba Linda, another one of our leaders.
Two thoughts come to mind. One is depending on who's at my meeting at the time, it's a matter of how fast or slow my music's going to have to be. I hadn't thought about when I was doing some of the things, I was picturing some of the members that come that are a little slower. So I would have to slow down. If I was the person they were marrying, I would have to slow down. So that was a consideration for me. Also, the fact that I find myself singing to the song, excuse me, which makes it a little more challenging to do the facial expression of the people that I'm following.
Yes. Okay. So this is perfect example, two of those things you said, Kim, of the observation of what's happening and being able to see it from that higher perspective and what the experience is like for other people, not just you on the inside. So great notes there, Kim. Anyone else?
Carl from Fort Collins.
Yeah, so it was fantastic exercise, and I could see it working in a hybrid kind of environment if you have a leader that is visible to everyone. I did see that there was some confusion when the person had a virtual background and their hand would disappear for a little while. And so that's something that we would have to be cautious of. And also the speed of the movement, because it takes time to observe and internalize and then think, okay, so what's their body doing? What's my body doing? And so if things move too quickly, then you're already like 5 steps behind.
Exactly.
But this last exercise was very fun for just throwing a few things in there and then seeing others mimic. And that was very cool.
Great. Thank you,
Carl.
Carl. Yep. Great observations. Now, Nikki Sebastian. Let's see. There you go.
I just want to second the preceding comment of, about the speed of the movements, because that was something that I noticed different with the different leaders, and that if it got subtle and fast, it became really hard to follow. I think partially because there's a time delay in the technology as well, in addition to having to, kind of process it through my own brain.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Nikki. This is all wonderful. This is exactly what I'm wanting you to glean from this experience, are these things. Let's hear from Roger Chigelis.
So I'm still leading a virtual group because the Omicron blew out just as we were going to go back to being in person. So it's still, but it's a men's only group. So I have everybody from early onset mid-30s to much older mid-80s. So I'll have to try to get them to all be more creative and find some music that appeals to both sides of the table. But I'm looking forward to the challenge. I'm going to try it.
Wonderful. Great. I'm glad that you already feel empowered to do that, Roger. And we'll talk about more of the how-tos here in a minute, which will hopefully help more. Great. Let's see. We've got Sarah Stegall next.
Hi. I was just thinking, you being a dancer, that how it's important, I think, to finish your movement and just a brief stop and then start again. Because some of it was really hard for me to follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Yeah.
I can see trying this in my group. I think they would enjoy it.
Wonderful. Great. Yes, I love that. So finishing a whole movement, giving it a breath or a moment to settle. I think the speed of the music, which was part of the lesson here, is that maybe faster music tempo is not the best choice because it's harder to follow someone exactly that way. So yes, exactly. But finishing your movements and not feeling rushed to go to the next one. Good. Let's hear, it looks like HP. I'm not sure what that might stand for, but go ahead and unmute yourself, HP. You've got your virtual hand raised. There you are. Yes.
Thank you. I didn't even realize I was on HP. I better change that. My name is Susan. I'm from Northern California, and I'm not my sister's computer, so I didn't know what I'm doing. Okay,
no,
so
that's fine.
First of all, I would love to say thank you to all of you who have participated and been brave enough to lead this. I think it's important for us to this nature, but I agree that it needs to be done slower and in steps. Wonderful. I used to teach preschool, and we would do patterns, and then speed it up. So I had a good time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love the music.
There was a little bit of a theme there. Did you catch it? Yes. I see Kristen nodding her head. Did you want to say something, Kristen? You can unmute yourself if you'd like.
What I noticed, was, we do a lot of Tai Chi, and what might be a little easier is maybe starting out with music with no sound, like no vocals, and then moving on and starting slower and then moving to the bigger motions. Just a thought.
Perfect. Yes. And I did that intentionally. I started with an instrumental and then I moved to a slow song, but with lyrics so that you could see the difference when it's almost dictated to you what you might be expressing, whereas instrumental is much more free form and open flowing, and it's all coming from you in self-expression. So lyrics automatically put a layer of meaning onto what you're doing. And then I went to a faster tempo with lyrics, and they got a little bit more chaotic, which we're talking about, I can see in the chat. And chaos could be a choice potentially, but maybe not so easy to follow. And then the last one, again, was a faster tempo with lyrics. And so, and very, I think most people know that song, right? So the familiarity aspect. So, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but thank you, Kristen, for those observations, something more Tai Chi-like, something that's more, slower in tempo is easier to follow. And I feel like I saw Freddie. Did you have something to say, Freddie, earlier?
In this time of COVID, it's real important to be seen and acknowledged. And I think that's what was in the last one that we did. The
whole group, and then being able to choose your leader instead of it being dictated to you.
And I saw a lot of smiles and a lot of laughter in that one. So it's just, in this time, I think that's real important that we're being seen and acknowledged.
Exactly. That's wonderful. Yes. So this could potentially be done if you're on Zoom and you have a large group like this. Not everyone's going to be able to be the leader, right? You can either do the group scenario where people get to choose, just like Freddie was saying, she felt seen. Or if you go into breakout rooms, there are a smaller number of people and you could literally take turns and make sure everybody has a chance to lead. Yeah. Or even partners. You could even do breakout rooms with 2 people and have it go back and forth. Okay, let's see if there's anything that I happen to miss, Rachel and Kelly, in the chat, anything I need to address.
I can't tell if Joyce has her hand up or if she's just holding her face. I think she had a point. Did you have something to say, Joyce?
Actually, I did have a point, and it was the facial expressions that were part of it that I thought were wonderful, especially like the smiling part. I just think lots of masked face are involved, and when we intentionally try to smile, then that's helpful, and I just like that.
Helpful in so many ways. That's wonderful.
Yes, we're drawing out that aspect because, like you said, Joyce, sometimes the facial expressions can be a little more masked with movement disorders. And so the subtlety and being patient and taking the time to really look and to really be with someone instead of glossing over because, oh, it's not an obvious big smile. Maybe it's a small smile, but the emotion is still real and there. Yeah. And so just acknowledging someone and giving them the time and the space to express themselves. Yeah. Carl, I see your hand up.
Yeah, as another question, I was wondering if there was a specific reason why you chose to use the original sound with your Bluetooth speaker rather than sharing the sound in Zoom. Because I was planning on doing this exercise this week, actually, and doing it as sharing the sound. Was there a reason why you did it the other way?
There is a reason, Carl. And so I will explain how I can get the original sound feature to show up for me as a Zoom user. But what Carl is speaking of is that you might have noticed when you can share a screen, such as a PowerPoint presentation, or if I want to show a video, I can share my literal desktop, or I can share an app so that people can see what I'm looking at. Or you have the ability to share sound. So it's basically if on my Mac computer, I've got my library of music, I could potentially share music that way and play it through my computer instead of with this. I choose not to do that because I don't have the ability to adapt the level of volume.
Really? It's always worked for me.
I like the matching of my voice. If I need to speak over the speaker, sometimes it's really hard to hear the person if I'm sharing the sound through my computer. That's been my experience. And if I want to be more specific with my timing, with rhythm and beat, it needs to be, the sound needs to be coming from the same source, which is right next to me, and then my voice, as opposed to my voice and then whatever processing time the computer needs to send that music out. So this is what I have found to be helpful. And I've taught actual dance classes, ballet or jazz, that kind of thing, with students. And this has been the way that I have found to be most effective. So
well, it was fabulous. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Yes. And I'm happy to share this with you all, and I'll get a little bit more into the technical nitty-gritty here just in a minute. Okay, so I think we're going to go move forward here. I've got a million things on my screen, so I just need to close some things out. All right. All righty. So
one of the things, just to share some insight about when there are no lyrics and the person is doing what's in their heart and what's in their brain, it's so beautiful to see what themes come out in different people's movements, and it just shares even more about that person when you get to see something unique coming out of them, and you're not sure what the meaning is, or you can pick it up right away what the meaning is, but without lyrics you get to sort of explore more, I think.
Thanks, Rachel. I totally agree. Just two very different experiences. And so you have that option to lead with instrumental or with music, with lyrics, with vocals. And they just have a very different outcome. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so moving forward, I just wanted to give you just a very brief kind of context history of, what this mirroring thing is. And I've mentioned that I come from a dance background, and some of you who are newer to us, I did the dance for PD training with the Mark Morris group. And so that's how I got into the Parkinson's community to begin with, about 4 years ago now. I can't believe it. And so moving is my way of expressing myself. I feel like that's my mode of expression, my first choice, as opposed to words. So this is more in my wheelhouse. And then I was curious where mirroring came from. I did a little bit of research over the last couple of weeks, and it seems like it might have come from a particular theater instructor, professor, teacher from mid 20th century. I believe she may have started this, Viola Spolin. That's what I could find as where this mirroring game came from. And so in theatrical contexts, in dance context, but also in therapeutic contexts, counseling, working with kids. So you'll find this mirroring game in a lot of different areas. And so I think it's just a really great way to become present and connect with people on another level that we don't normally do, right? We normally talk and use our words. And so sometimes it's nice to connect on a different level. I'm going to share my screen again, and we can talk about what the benefits are of mirroring. And those of you who have had my regional workshop, you might have seen this slide before, but I think it's just important to go through these things. So the benefits of mirroring, what can we get out of it? So it builds presence, brings people to the here and now, their bodies in real time and space, instead of floating off in your thoughts somewhere else in the world. So you're actually here and doing it with one another. And then the awareness of the nonverbal cues. I think maybe David Cox just put that in the chat, something about the nonverbal communication, which is so important. And it's most of communication. I don't have the statistic. I think something like 90% of communication is nonverbal. And the rest is words, but that's incredible when you think about it. And so just to be more in tune with that is very important. Another benefit is the enhancement of emotional understanding and empathy for others. So I know when Anna Maria was leading her, I think Bushel and a Peck, you were the last song there, and just those big, huge faces and the expressions and the smiles and the silliness that came out of her eyes. I really just connected with her on a different emotional level, which I really appreciate. And lastly here, mirroring can encourage cooperation between people, among people. It can increase people's concentration. Did you find that you had to use your brain in a different way and to be more attentive and aware on a different level? So that's good for our brains. It's good for creativity, especially if you were the one doing the leading of the movement, right? You need to come up with your vocabulary, with your new way of speaking, right? So it's causing you to be more creative. And then using both sides of our brain, okay? So that's obviously very important for us as we're working with neurological issues and things like that. We want to be using the brain in new and creative ways. Yes, and keeping things fresh, new neural pathways, the neuroplasticity we've been learning about and hearing about how important that is in the work that we do. Okay, so moving forward, if you just let me know if anything's in the chat that I need to address, Rachel and Kelly.
Well, Myra asked a very interesting question. She asked if it's derived at all from miming.
From miming. I didn't see that in the brief little history research that I did, Myra. Miming, it's in my world, it feels like miming is a little more performative, and that people are sitting, being still and watching someone perform. And whereas the crux or the point of mirroring is to be doing it together. So that's where I would draw a distinction there. But yeah, it very well there may have been a connection there. Good point. So the basic guidelines, I gave you a few as we began this exercise. And just so you know, you don't have to worry about taking notes. You may take notes, of course. I will send all of these slides to you in a PDF format following this, so you don't have to worry about writing down all these words. So if you are registered, which you must be to have gotten the link to be here today, we will send an email to you with all this information. So maintaining eye contact, especially when you're in person, that's really important to be seen and felt by someone else. Using the nonverbal communication, you're not supposed to be talking. Imitating movements as closely as possible. And then this is the one that I did not bring up kind of intentionally as we did that little exercise together. So slow and sustained movement is pretty important, and that's so that we can mirror each other more effectively, more accurately. And it's when the music got fast and it got more sporadic and we responded by going faster, it's harder to follow, isn't it? So this is something we like to tell people to encourage more effective mirroring. When you're in person, you can do it sitting or standing, or you could even have a mixed group or a mixed couple. Someone is sitting, someone is standing. And so based on comfortability and how balance is today, that sort of thing. And then choosing a leader and a follower. So, setting that up from the get-go. This person leads, this person follows, and then at a moment, certain time, you're going to say, okay, everybody switch. And then it'll be the opposite, or it can eventually go into this place where it's very much almost a flow state, if you've ever experienced that in life, where if you have two people and someone is leading, someone's following, and then you say, go ahead and just have it interchange without even talking about it. So someone takes over, becomes the leader, and they lead for a while. And then all of a sudden, when it feels right to the couple, the other person takes over and starts leading. Does that make sense to everyone? It's a little bit, I think, more challenging to do via Zoom because we don't have that X factor energy exchange that can happen when we're in person. It just takes much more focus to be able to do that interchange when you're on Zoom. Okay. Is this making sense to everybody? Yeah, pretty clear so far with how to make that work. Okay, I am gonna make sure I'm not missing anything. Something to say, if you're in person as well, you can do partnering, or say you're seated in a circle. The whole group is in a circle. You could potentially go from one person to the other and then take turns that way so that a whole group is following one person. Yeah, so there are many options, many different ways to conduct this sort of exercise in person. It's a little bit more restricted when you're on this Zoom format. Okay. Let me keep going here. So yes, our considerations as we lead this exercise. So choosing your music is very important. We experienced the instrumental, the slow, then the slow with lyrics, and then the faster with lyrics, and how that felt different to all of us. And then the familiar song, something that everyone knows, versus something that's more obscure, something that's just maybe a beautiful piece of music, but people don't have these prior contexts to knowing what it comes from, and then which would then affect the ways in which that they express themselves. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, good. Okay. Next we have utilizing themes for inspiration. So does anyone know what I might have been going for today with my 4 music choices? Rachel has her heart there. Yes, I see Joe's hand. Would you like to unmute?
Valentine's Day.
Yes. So we are a couple of weeks away from Valentine's Day. So I thought, hey, let's, love is probably the most popular subject in all of music. So it's not hard to find songs about that. But I thought that would be appropriate as we move toward Valentine's Day and exploring that theme. So yeah, utilizing themes. So wintertime, springtime, summer, or certain months or certain holidays. You could do like common activities, experiences that people would be able to relate to. Does anyone have any ideas off the top of their head what an experience might be? If you said, hey, let's have all of our mirroring have this underlying theme to it. Anything off the top of your head? Go ahead and raise your hand if you have an idea. Kim.
Often it can be about say baseball or
baseball, like a sport,
or taking just one word theme and finding songs with that in it.
Perfect. Love it. Yes. Kelly.
Shannon, I was studying on a class about 3 years ago, and it was being put on by someone that had a master's in music for teaching it somehow or the other, along with a neuropsychologist. And they were talking about how the rhythm of the music helps people to move with Parkinson's. Sometimes it can get too fast, but the cadence type military thing, the right, left, right, row your boat, that this helps to move. And that if we get too flowy, we get too fast, their brain, as some of them have talked about, cannot function, does not encode and outcode fast enough. So they were talking about during exercise periods with music to find stuff with a cadence type. You can't just say rhythm, but it has to be something that their mind can track real easy. So I just want to throw that in as we're doing that, because that's consideration if we're working with people with more advanced Parkinson's.
Thanks for bringing that up, Kelly. And that is a distinction that I'd like to make today. The difference, say, between a mirroring exercise such as this, which is really, I think, more about the connection and expression rather than the exercise. So if because I've done dance for PD and I've taught classes, I almost put that in a different category and saying, okay, I want a rhythm and I want people to be able to keep their march going on a beat, and that will help them with their walking and not freezing. And so some of these other benefits that music can provide to people as they move and exercise, that may be that is super important, but it's another goal, it's another outcome, if that makes sense. So in this sense, maybe we don't use the march because it's a little too fast and it's hard to mirror and follow, right? But if we were doing an exercise class, or if we had a guest exercise teacher come, they will very likely use that kind of music because it's about the movement and the size. We want big movement, right? When we're doing movement for Parkinson's and for movement disorders. So I appreciate you bringing that up, because I just want to make that distinction, in that that's not what our goal is for mirroring. It has a completely different outcome that we're looking for. I see a hand, but I can't see your name. Yes.
Eve in Pembroke.
Perfect.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I see them as very different reasons why we use that. I'm a music therapist, and every person has really a different cadence. We work to find where that is. And so sometimes it's hard to do that in a large group. Sometimes you blend it and find sort of an average of cadence. But when we do mirroring, it really focuses on, at least for me, that opportunity to improvise and to be free and to follow the music at your own tempo as you move along. And then, the onus is on then the rest of us to follow that cue. So I do use them very differently. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Love that.
Lots of great themes also in the chat with the Olympics theme. We had the Summer Olympics, and Shannon, I recall during our summer workshops, we did Olympic type mirroring images. And the Winter Olympics will be right here as well this week, I think. So doing wintry sport.
Love that. Ski,
mirroring.
Bobsled. Is there a snowball fight in the Olympics? Not sure. But if you think about an experience like going to the beach or having a picnic, so something that everyone can relate to on some level. And it just gives that extra layer of creativity, and it gives someone sometimes the free form openness of no constraints is overwhelming, and people are like stunned, and then they're frozen. So if you give them just a little tidbit, a little kernel of some direction, it will allow them to explore that line of creativity and just feel more free. So I don't know if we've got artists of any kind here in the Zoom room with us today, but you might have that common experience of if you have a constraint of some sort, then that allows you to be more creative. Okay, let's see, moving forward, in-person mirroring. So I was explaining to you that I have my Bluetooth speaker and I've got my cell phone that is connected via Bluetooth, and I have my playlist that's ready to go. So this is really all you need to do mirroring in person. And you might even have a stereo, or even if you have a boom box, just a way to play the song you want to play with a speaker. That's all you need. Arranging your participants. So that is, I was mentioning it a little bit earlier. Are you going to have couples, people partnering together, or maybe a small group of 4 people or even 3, and then go from person to person, changing leaders, followers, that sort of thing, or in a big circle, like I mentioned, and going one by one around the room and giving them a couple of counts of 8, to improvise. Okay, move to the next person, that sort of thing. Let everyone participate. Hopefully that's pretty clear. It's easier to function in person than it is on Zoom. Lastly, mirroring on Zoom. So it's this Bluetooth speaker and cell phone that I told you about. Now, original sound. So I am going to stop sharing my PowerPoint with you. And I'm now going to share my screen so that you can see when you are on Zoom how you can change the functionality to get this original sound option. So let me see if I can manage this.
Okay. Behind the scenes look.
So can you, okay, it looks like you can see now, and maybe you can see your own faces. And so this is a special way you see here, you can actually see my Zoom features and functionality. And that's also a special feature in Zoom. I'm not going to get into that part, but this is helpful for you to be able to see what to do when you are in charge of your own Zoom meeting and leading mirroring there. So I'm going to show you, there we are, how to get to the settings. So there are a couple of ways. This is called the desktop client. And I got this just by clicking on my Zoom button. And so that came to the front. And so to find the settings, do you see this little gear symbol here? If I click on that, that's going to pull up all of the settings for Zoom. Okay. Now I want to go to the audio option, which is third down on the left-hand side. And I can see all these different features here. What I want to look at is under this music and professional audio is this here, show in meeting option to enable original sound. So that is clicked on. Okay. Now, when this is, do you see it's off now? Now, if I were to click it, then these other options show up here. So enable these options when original sound is on. I recommend, for my setup at least, I'm only going to use echo cancellation. These two here are a little bit too techy and it just gets over the top, and I don't need all of that functionality. It's kind of like when you have a professional separate microphone and you're using headphones, and not necessary. We just don't want echoing to happen. So that's the only one that I enable, right? So that's how I get original sound to show up. Now, let's see if I can make this go away. I might have to close that out. Yeah. Okay. So are you seeing everyone's faces here? Okay. Do you see this right up here in the top left-hand corner of my screen? Original sound on, right? That's how I know that original sound is activated. And when I play my music, it's going to come through the microphone on my computer without the extra noise cancellation that Zoom uses automatically. So I don't know if you've ever had the experience of listening to somebody on a Zoom meeting and they go in and out. It's like their microphone is sort of like not picking up every sound. That's done on purpose so that background noise doesn't come through their speaker. I don't know if you can hear it. My heater just turned on. Do you see that? Okay, I'm gonna turn off original sound and see what happens. Do you still see what happens? So original sound is off, and now Zoom, it's kind of being its smart self, and it is eliminating the background noise of my heater. If I want to play music though, I want you to hear all the little tiny details of the song, and so it doesn't sound just like a big mess. You're actually hearing the different instruments, you're hearing the vocal qualities come through. Does that make sense to everybody? So I have to remember all the time, since I have my original sound always activated, I need to turn it off so that when my heater comes on, you all aren't hearing it. So that's just a side note, but just something really important to understand. Is that clear for everybody? Yeah? Okay, great. I'm going to start sharing my slides again, kind of going back and forth. Okay. All right, so who's leading and following? I have to get through this super quickly because I realize how much time is gone. We barely have time to meet in our breakout rooms. So who's leading and following? I think that I have talked about that enough. The spotlight feature or gallery view, I already talked about that as well. You have the ability as host to spotlight other people. And hopefully, that's not going to be as big of a concern for you technically. If I wanted to spotlight Mary in Colorado, for instance, I would hover over her image. The 3 ellipses would come up in her square. Click on it. The menu pops up. I'd say spotlight, and then boop, she goes big. And then you can unspotlight that person. Are we good? Yes? Okay, excellent. All right, that was a lot. I think that we should go ahead and move to our breakout rooms. I am going to click through something. I'm not going to address this because it takes too much time. These are a couple of possible options of things you can talk about in your group. So first of all, knowing that Zoom fatigue, anybody have that? Information overload, anyone familiar? And societal depression and apathy at this point. How many waves of variants and, in and out of quarantine and isolation? All these things are very real right now. What might you do to keep your group meetings interesting and your members engaged? Something to think about. The goals that we had talked about in the December roundtable, so a question that came up several times, who might you recruit to help you with running your group? Maybe somebody who has expressed a little bit of interest in helping out. And then once you recruit them, what kind of tasks can you share with them? What role might they play? So this is just a way for you to start sharing that load, so it's not all on you, one person. So those are 2 possibilities of things to talk about. I'm going to copy these questions, put them in the chat in case you want to address them. Where is my chat window? I've got too many things open. There we are. Okay. So I'm going to put them in here, or if you have other burning issues that you want to talk about with your group members, I would love you to do that, to have the chance just to talk to one another. So Kelly, my magical breakout room lady.
Yes, let's see. Give me just like one second here. I'm just double checking. Whenever I do the breakout rooms, I feel like my default settings are a little bit different sometimes. So I'm double checking that we've got everything as I think it should work. So
perfect. Okay. So I think I will give everyone 12 minutes. Okay, it's not that long. I wanted to do about 20 in the breakout rooms, but we've run out of time. So are we going to do, what do you think? 5 to 6 people? We only have, let's see, a few of you who, yeah, 6 or 7. And I do that because some people might have trouble participating. And if somebody ends up in a group, I still want enough interaction going, even if not everyone in the group can participate. So we'll put 6 to 7 in each breakout room. We're not going to do official sharebacks. We'll just have 5 minutes or so for any large, consequential insights that you might have had to share with the whole group, but we will come back.
Epiphanies. Or anything like
Epiphany.
that.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
I believe I am ready if you are ready.
Perfect. Okay. You're going to be automatically shot over to your breakout room, and then you will be brought back. I'll give you maybe a 1 minute warning that you're going to be brought back to the main room. Okay. We'll see you in just a little bit, about 12 minutes or so. Okay. Looks like slowly coming back, hopefully. Nice to see you, Freddie. You're muted.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Great having you.
Welcome back, everyone. I know that was a quick one, quicker than I wanted. I'm sorry. There's never enough time, is there? Hopefully there was some good sharing that happened. Anything that came up that you feel would be important for the whole group to learn from today?
David Cox. Unmute.
Every support group needs a Kelly.
Every support group needs a Kelly. Awesome. Yeah.
We already know that.
He's right.
Sarah Segal, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, I have that ongoing dilemma of finding a successor. And Anna Maria gave me a really good suggestion. She says 2 sentences to ask your members, what do you expect to get from this group, and what would you like to give to the group?
Mm.
So, I always ask them, tell me what you want us to, what you're interested in, and I'll get speakers, but I've never asked them, what will you give back to the group?
That's great. Yeah, I think the way you're framing the question, Sarah, is that, what do you want from me? What do you want me to provide? Or what do you want, who can I get to help? That kind of thing. So I think reframing the question and asking, what do you want to get out of it? What do you want to give?
Right.
Yeah, because it's a group. It's not, it shouldn't feel like this hierarchy thing. It should feel more circular and everyone is contributing, right? Perfect.
Yes.
Love that.
Good idea, Anna Maria. Thank you.
Roger Trudelis.
Yeah, I heard something really good in our group is that, a lot of times you might have a speaker and they'll have a slide deck and it just becomes 45 minutes of watching them go to slide to slide to slide and everybody falls asleep. So what one of the persons in our group says, they only have the speaker talk for like 5 to 10 minutes and then it's all Q&A. So people can have the opportunity to talk to the expert and express themselves and get the dialogue back and forth instead of just being a one-sided presentation, which is kind of boring.
Love that. Yeah, the interaction is more important than the didactic, just spewing of information, and so let's actually have it be a conversation and giving people responsibility and making the presentation useful for everyone. Thank you for that. Did I see anybody else? Joyce.
To go along with that, I think someone brought up in our group, and I thought it was really interesting that, we've heard about the substantia Niagara enough unless we're early onset. And everyone who comes in wants to take us at the brain, finite part of the brain that's affected and all that. And we know that. Maybe we don't need that repeated every time. And maybe that's what we need to say to our speakers. You know, we've heard substantia nigra 100 times. We don't need to go that. We want to start past that.
Great point, Joyce. And I think that underscores just like, what is the purpose of your group? You know, why are you coming together? We know this, well, one of the silver linings, or a silver lining from Zoom, from COVID, the pandemic, is having all of these educational programs that have been available to us. They're recorded. We can go to those for educational purposes to learn more about the brain and the technicalities of disease states and things like that. But when we have the chance to come together in real time, what's more important? Is it connecting? Is it talking with one another and the connections? Because we are so isolated at home, right? So maybe that takes center stage in our groups at this point, as opposed to learning about the parts of the brain. So thanks for bringing that up. And it's just another chance for us to recalibrate what's most important in our groups right now. Peggy, I see your hand. And you're muted. You're gonna have to unmute.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm relatively small group. Probably our meetings average about 12 to 14 people, and it is a women's group. So we have speakers and we have speakers, but about every 3 or 4 months, they like to just sit and talk and maybe vent something, or if they've tried something new. We had a speaker on pelvic floor, and they just came out to one another like friends. Well, I think they have become friends now, and they seem to enjoy that. I don't think it would work as well with a large group, but if you have a small group, we found that we've had a lot of feedback from them on it.
You've had a lot of feedback. Yeah. Yes. Thanks for sharing that, Peggy, and all the different ways in which we can come together as a group and format ourselves to make it effective. And yeah, the ability for smaller groups to really talk with one another and everyone participate is very important. And that's why, like, we do the breakout rooms, just so that you all can talk to one another.
Sometimes afterwards, we'll even go out for lunch together, and it'll continue, or it will kind of sink into their other life.
Yes, for sure. Continuing your connections beyond the meetings.
Yeah.
People can become lifelong friends. I know that for a fact, which is wonderful. Okay, so it looks like, well, we are past the end of the meeting, and thank you for all for staying this long. I'm just going to take a couple of more minutes to wrap up. I see there are some questions about icebreaker, meeting maker cards. So some of us have attended our regional workshops, and that is where you are able to get the resources, like our resource guide. And Roger in Indiana, he's holding up his icebreaker cards. You might see them. So there are resources that we like to provide support group leaders when they are able to attend our workshops. And we are working on our workshop schedule for the year. So what I'm going to do here, and I misspelled it, I'm going to put my email address in the chat. So if you have questions about any of the resources, things that we provide, the workshops and such, go ahead and just email me and we can have a one-on-one, and I can figure out where you are, how we might be able to get you more into the fold of our ongoing training so that you can get access to these resources. Let's see, I'm not sure if I've missed anything else. Just been trying to multitask, which I'm not good at. And yes, so I just want to go ahead and wrap up. I had an idea for a farewell chat for us to do. I was going to ask you if you could play any song to this group, something that would be very appropriate for this time and space and serve as inspiration. Maybe we could hear what that might be. I think mine would be a very
We Are the Champions. Oh, that's a great one,
We
Roger.
Are the Champions. I'd say Don't Stop Believin'. I don't know if you remember that Journey song. So I was just going to have us go back to that music theme. We Are the World. I love it. Yes, so we can get a
Hit
little.
me with your best shot. I love that.
So again, meta, think about how you can incorporate some of these ideas into your support group. How can you make it fun and creative, get people thinking outside the box? It doesn't always have to be about Parkinson's, about the movement disorders. What can you bring in from all the areas of people's lives that helps them to feel alive and inspired and enjoy and connect with one another. So Muppet theme, Eye of the Tiger, love it. Imagine, oh, such a beautiful song. Love that one. So we are hoping to do this once a month. Go ahead and put it on your calendar. I'm anticipating February 28th, which is the last Monday of next month. We'll meet here again. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be focusing on next month. I'll figure it out between now and then, but we'll do some sort of learning and then again, breakout rooms to share with one another and connect. Okay, any last things? Let's see, do we have a February date? Yes, so that's February 28th. Ziggy Marley, love him. Okay, some will come out tomorrow. Thank you for that. That makes me happy, everybody.
This has been so fun. Thank you for starting the week off this way. This is a great, positive way to start the week. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was great as always.
Thank you
Great
so
to
much.
see all of you.
Stay safe and healthy. Okay, we'll see you.